Well, so that's the whole problem I always had with psychedelic rock, because it was a lot of music. And they would just, you know, they'd have the projectors out there, and then you'd have a guy. Well, it's like, we talk about Grateful Dead. I mean, that's a good example of this music where it's like, all right, we're riding on a train, and then here you got...
keep on trucking like the dog man.
Yeah. And people are into it, and it's like, what type of stuff goes on? I'm reading a little bit more about AD here. Apparently, they had an album before this, and they didn't tour on the first album, but after they did this is when they started touring, and that's what I wanted a little bit more about. But these are finds that, like I said, that do really get, during that time, got lost, especially the late 80s, got lost in the shuffle. Especially when the hair band stuff started getting popular, and the rap music as well was starting to get popular. So a lot of this stuff got lost in the shuffle. Great early 80s. To me, where Christian music excelled is they took over that 80s so big, because a lot of the 80s music was 3 chords, pretty much, that were over and over and over again. And so the Christian music really took over that really well. Petra did really good on 80s stuff. AD is a good example of 80s stuff. What's another group that was really prominent in 80s, early 80s, that could take over that new wave sound?
Well, you had Degarmo Key did quite a bit.
Degarmo Key a little bit. Was worked the Hope Ministries. And these people went to big name musical schools, and they play these big churches and everything. So I get so sick and tired of that. Oh, well, they're just not up there. A lot of these people that came from secular music came from the church, and the training is just outrageous. I mean, and that's the kind of thing that you get out of the church that I think transponded over here. And when they were told, oh, we're going to try to take over the 80s sound, it was kind of insulting to some. Because, I mean, well, a good example is David Meese is classically trained. Randy Stonehill is a classically trained guitar player. And to do this 3-chord riff over and over again type music was is kind of really insulting to these guys. I mean, that's the reason, and not saying anything that 70s music is all wonderful and great, but there's progressions where it goes higher and higher, and that's the reason why they had to have such high vocalists to keep up with artists. That's where you get people like John Slitt and Kerry Levergan and John Elefante and groups like that. Because as they exit the song, the chords progress. And that's where another reason why we call it progressive music, is because there's changes. It's not that same riff over again. You're like, it's not the Kinks, you know, girl, you really got me. No, it's going to be something that as we go out, like God gave rock and roll to me, as you go out towards the song progresses outward, and then the vocalist himself has to keep up with that. And so when you get to the 80s, it's you can get away with the David Bowie type vocals and just this monotone type Rick Ocasek vocals without no problem. Because Rick Ocasek doesn't have to go to, it doesn't have this huge outro at the end. So it really works for the 80s, and it was catchy. It's where I come into music. That's what got me into music, was the 80s music. I think too, because I'm a tech person, I like the tech sound. You know, I like movies like Tron and things like that. Journey, groups like that were really groups that kind of just
the lack of appreciation of Christian music,
right.
Or especially, let's just say Christian rock.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying that there's. I mean, I'm not saying anything about just Christian music in general. I'm just saying that oftentimes when let's say we're going to hand this to a guy that's in classic rock. Right. You ought to try this album right here. Christian rock, they're always subpar. I mean, that's what they'll say. But when you look at the history, I always like to use this illustration. As a crossover, we as a Christian, we got Kerry Levergan, we got Dave Hope, we got Mark Farner from Grand Trunk Railroad. He made Christian albums. We got Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind and Fire. He made Christian albums. We got John Slitz from Heads East. We got and the list goes on and on and on. Well, Phil Keaggy, that's the biggest one. I mean, no telling what a glass harp would have done. I've been listening to glass harp here lately. No telling what glass harp would have done if Phil would have stayed in that band. To us, it's just like a footnote because they were a great band. I mean, they were on the way. They went to they were in Carnegie Hall. But I use this illustration. I said I can list, if I sat down and listed all the secular artists that either got saved or renewed their faith and came in. Dan Peake's another one from America. Came into the Christian scene and made Christian albums. The list goes on and on and on. But when you think of who did they get? Katy Perry. So that's my illustration on that. And so when you're sitting there going, does Katy Perry stack up to any of these artists? No. I mean, we got top-rated people that committed themselves to Christ, and it's not. And some of them returned to secular music, but if you'll notice, a lot of them, just because they returned to secular music, didn't mean that they left their faith behind. The only one that I can even think of would have been Bob Dylan, and even he continuously plays a lot of the Christian songs that he created years ago. He'll play them live. He'll play them on an album, redo them, and because they were just good, solid songs. I remember he did a concert with the Grateful Dead, and they covered some of his Christian songs.
Right. So in comparison, this is to me, this is my favorite. This is my second favorite, and this is my third favorite. So there you go on that. How would you rate on those?
Well, yeah, I'm probably the same way on all these. Yeah. But like I said again, that outstanding at the door of the Wittenberg Cathedral. Can't say that enough. But I mean, sometimes, and I think this is the way this is. If you're an instrumental person, you might sit down and listen to this, and you'll get why he named these songs. Yeah. But again, like I said, kudos to the music of these albums.
Well, Michael Gleason, to me, he's got a lot of talent.
Oh,
and he's not a bad vocalist. And
no.
Children of the Choices, which is, we may do that here, is a pretty good album, and he had a pretty good solo run there. Like I said, with Kansas originally, I mean, they have really came back. They came back for a while, the original members do. A lot of these bands, like he's talking about, have come back for reunions, and a lot of the Christian guys get back in there and they do it again, regardless. But like I said, they don't leave their faith behind. And I think sometimes, too,